إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار أما بعد. Today on the 8th of Shawwal in the year 1441 corresponding to the 31st of May in the year 2020, we are on page 290 on chapter 63. Allah and His Prophet's protection. Allah says, وَأَوْفُوا بِعَهْدِ اللَّهِ إِذَا عَاهَدتُّمْ وَلَا تَنْقُضُوا الْأَيْمَانَ بَعْدَ تَوْكِيدِهَا وَقَدْ جَعَلْتُمُ اللَّهَ عَلَيْكُمْ كَفِيلًا إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْلَمُ مَا تَفْعَلُونَ. Be true to Allah's contract when you have agreed to it, and do not break your oaths once they are confirmed and you have made Allah as your guarantee. Allah knows what you do.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وعلى من تبع هداهم إلى يوم الدين. The author says, باب ما جاء في ذمة الله وذمة نبيه صلى الله عليه وسلم, what is being revealed regarding the protection or the covenant of Allah and the protection or the covenant of His Messenger. And both covenants are to be the same. But the covenant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on His slaves that they should worship Him alone and associating nothing in His worship. And we have a covenant unto Allah Azza wa Jal, which He, the Almighty Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, had imposed upon Himself, that if we worship Him, associating nothing in His worship, that He will make us to enter paradise. As the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam also has a covenant unto us, and we have a covenant unto Him. His covenant unto us that we should follow His Sharia and will follow His commands and not to innovate in His religion and the religion of Islam. And we have a covenant unto Him that the Prophet ﷺ should convey to us everything that had been revealed to him, and he should not hide anything. He should disclose everything. Those are the covenant which is being mentioned here. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said to us that any prophet who's been sent by the Almighty Azza wa Jal is incumbent upon him, that is, he should indicate to his people the way to Jannah. He should indicate to his people how to worship Allah properly. So this is the covenant that the author had brought, the covenant. And the link between this chapter title and between the book title, which is Kitab Tawheed, is that the person, if he does not fulfill his covenant, that is basically is going to be shaking his foundation for his Tawheed. If he does not believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's covenant, if he does not, fulfill the covenants of Allah Azza wa Jal or the covenant of His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then as I said, that will be deprivation, and it will be taken away from the Tawheed of his. He started with a verse, and the Surah An-Nahl, verse 91, وَأَوْفُوا بِعَهْدِ اللَّهِ, and fulfill, وَأَوْفُوا, by the covenant of Allah. When we say the covenant of Allah, either your covenant with your covenant to Allah or Allah's covenant unto you. Both is the same. So whatever you have made a covenant unto Allah, or whatever Allah made covenant unto you. So it is the same. بِعَهْدِكُمُ اللَّهِ أَوْ عَهْدُ اللَّهِ إِيَّاكُمْ. Same thing. So you have to fulfill وَأَوْفُوا. وَإِذَا عَاهَدْتُمْ here, إِذَا عَاهَدْتُمْ is to emphasize. So أَوْفُوا الْعَهْدِ إِذَا عَاهَدْتُمْ, you make the covenant, make sure you don't, you make sure that you fulfill it. And then again another emphasis, وَلَا تَنْقُضُوا الْأَيْمَانَ بَعْدَ تَوْكِيدِهَا, and do not unravel. نَقْض means to unravel the ayman. Do not invalidate, nullify your oath, your covenant with the Almighty Azza wa Jal after you have emphasized it. And also as a rebuke from the Almighty Azza wa Jal for the person who does so, he said, وَقَدْ جَعَلْتُمُ اللَّهَ كَفِيلًا وَقَدْ جَعَلْتُمُ اللَّهَ عَلَيْكُمْ كَفِيلًا. And when you have made Allah Azza wa Jal Himself is to be a witness for that covenant. So you made Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that you made an oath by Him. How dare you don't fulfill the covenant? إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْلَمُ مَا تَفْعَلُونَ. He had ended this verse by a threat to the one who does not fulfill his covenant, because if the person knows that Allah Azza wa Jal, He knows what he does, he will not unravel his covenant. He will not nullify his contract with the Almighty Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So the ayah in terms of its link to the chapter title is very clear. It is أوفوا بعهد الله, and that is وأوفوا بعهد الله. Fulfill your covenant with your Lord, and also وقد جعلتم الله عليكم كفيلا, and you made Allah Azza wa Jalla to be the one that you have made covenant with. And we go to the hadith straight away. عن بريدة.
Buraidah reports that when the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam appointed anyone as a leader of an army or detachment, he would especially exhort him to fear Allah and to be good to the Muslims who are with him. He would say, with the name of Allah, fight in the way of Allah. Fight those who disbelieve in Allah. Fight, but do not embezzle the spoils. Do not break your pledge. Do not mutilate dead bodies, and do not kill children.
That's it. Stop here and half of the hadith. It's a long hadith. Right. عن بريدة رضي الله عنه, great companion. And he said that the Prophet ﷺ, whenever he had sent an army or a detachment, in Arabic, army is a jaysh, detachment means sariyah. What's the difference? Yes, there's a difference. The army is 400 plus, and the detachment is less than 400. So if it's less than 400 people, it's a detachment. 400 plus, it's an army. And the detachment are to be sent in the following way. Either it's a detachment which comes from its place, from the place where it's homeland, all the way to the place where it's going to be fighting, and then of course that it will have the same wubuti division as the army itself. Or it could be a detachment which would precede the army just for the sake of making preparation for the army. And this one, normally this is the case, will get less wubuti because when they go, they are secure because they know the army is behind them. Or a detachment which will be after the army had left. And this one will take a third because it will take more than the first one because they are on their own. The army had left and they are going to be vulnerable. But third or a fourth or whatever, it depends upon the commander. He might be giving them nothing. It's not like the army. So it depends upon the ijtihad, what the imam and the leader is decides. He says that when the Prophet of Allah sends an army or a detachment, قال أوصاه بتقوى الله. So it's very good for the person who sends an army, a commander, to always give a wasiyah, recommendation. He would counsel them, he would tell them, he would prompt them, he would advise them. بتقوى الله. To fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That fear of Allah Azza wa Jalla. The taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that to make sure that you take a protection against the punishment of Allah. That's what is called the taqwa of Allah. So taking a protection from the punishment of Allah Azza wa Jalla. And that is, you only could do it and fulfill it by what? By fulfilling His commands and keeping away from His prohibition. This is important that you do it, you give it to the person who's in charge, because this person is going to be a leader, and especially if it's 400 plus, 1,000 or 2,000, this person will have tendency to have pride, and the pride kills your iman. So that is why it is very, very, very recommended from the general leader, the Khalifa, to make sure that his general leader, commander of the army, to have humbleness here. Fear Allah Azza wa Jalla. Yes, you've been given the leadership of how many thousands of people here? Fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he says, وَبِمَنْ مَعَهُ مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ خَيْرًا. And also he would prompt him to be good regarding those who is in charge of them. So you're not on your own. You have to think that there are some people with you. So if, for example, you came to a place where there is two ways to reach the target of yours, one which is difficult and one which is easy. If you are on your own, you choose whatever you like. Maybe you think that the harder way, if it's not easy, is a shorter cut. But when you have the people with you, you have to consideration with them. So it becomes compulsory upon you to fulfill the command of the Prophet ﷺ, which he said, to be good, to be choosing the easiest onto them. Whereas if you're on your own, only what is abiding upon you, what is compulsory. So it's not compulsory upon you to take the easy way. Maybe you want to take the difficult way because you think there's better. But when you have some people, you have to look after them. Then he says, after that, Ughzu Bismillah. That is, fight in the name of Allah. Either to say Bismillah, or means have Allah to help you. Ughzu Bismillah, that means you always have Allah to help you. Always seeking help from Allah. Both meanings, even the second meaning is more appropriate, that is seeking the help of Allah. But everything that we do, we start, say Bismillah. Bismillah. There's a hadith which is not authentic. Anything that you act, you started without Bismillah, it is being abtar. Abtar means being cut off. It's not complete. It's not authentic in chain wise, but is authentic in meaning wise. قال أغزو بسم الله في سبيل الله. Again here في سبيل الله. That means your intention is, that is Allah Azza wa Jall's pleasure. You're not, for example, going there for the sake of being a hero, or for the sake of being, for example, to take more war booty. You're seeking actually to make the words of Allah to be the uppermost. أن تكون كلمة الله هي العليا. That's what you are seeking. Okay? So, في سبيل الله. It is not you fighting to be called a brave man, a hero man, all of that. Okay? Right. في سبيل الله, it entails and contains two things, which is intention and action. Okay? Intention, which is preceding, and the action as well. When you fight with this code of Islamic code. There's an Islamic code. You have to fight within that frame. قاتلوا من كفر بالله. Fight the one who disbelieved in Allah. قاتلوا, and that is a command. Jihad is a command. قاتلوا, the one who had disbelieved in Allah Azza wa Jal. يا أيها النبي جاهد الكفار والمنافقين واغلظ عليهم ومأواهم جهنم وبئس المصير. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يا أيها الذين آمنوا قاتلوا الذين يلونكم من الكفار. Lots of ayat. Allah Azza wa Jal is telling us to fight the disbelievers, and those are the ones who are behind them. And until we liberate the land and make it free for the people to worship Allah alone. So fight the disbelievers. So we don't fight the people because they are different race, they're different color, they are because they've got lots of petrol. No, we fight them for their own sake, so that we could liberate them from being people destined to hellfire. So we are held in them to. We're not going to tell them embrace Islam, as we're going to see in a minute at the end of the hadith. We're not going to impose upon them Islam, but we're going to give them the choice. See, this is the Islam we have to reach you. Look at the deen. This is the deen. We're trying to save you. But if you don't want to choose Islam, it's up to you. You could live with not being a Muslim and be respected as well. In a Muslim state, you're going to be respected. You're going to be, but you have to, as we're going to see, pay the jizya, the tribute. So we are fighting the disbelievers for their own sake. قال أغزو. Again, to emphasize, don't belittle the fight. أغزو. Don't belittle it. أغزو with affirmative. أغزو with seriousness. ولا تغلو. لا تغلو. تغلو, that means you hide what you gain from the war booty. You hide it. So you gain war booty, laptops or something, you hide it. You don't show it. You don't show it to the commander. You don't show it to the one who's a leader. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had said in Surah Al-Imran, وَمَا كَانَ لِنَبِيٍّ أَنْ يَغُلْ. And it's not fitting, it's not appropriate for any prophet. No way that prophet will steal and hide from the war booty. وَمَا يَغْلُلْ يَأْتِ بِمَا غَلَّ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. And he who does so, he will bring what he stole along with him on the day of resurrection. He will be encircled with it. And we have talked about this before when the Prophet said about a person he's in hellfire, and they thought he's mashallah brave. He's in the hellfire. And then they looked into his items and they had just seen him. One of the hadith that he saw him, that he had stolen a cloak. One of the hadith he said, stolen some beads, which is equivalent to 2 dirham. Even the Prophet refused to pray on him. He said, pray on him. I know I'm going to pray on him. So this is a major sin. Al-ghulul, the major sin. So don't steal from the war booty. It's not allowed. Whatever you take, you put it, and then the commander will divide it. وَلَا تَغْدُرُوا. Maybe as well, he might divide it and he might return it back. It's up to the commander. Just like the Prophet in Ghazwat Hunayn. These people, they brought everything with them. Prophet did not divide them. He's waited for a month. And he told them, if you want to come back, they return back and come and take your stuff. He told them that. He gave them the option. طيب ولا تغدروا. Ghadar means a treachery, betrayal. Don't betray. If you've given your word to the enemies, come and we'll negotiate. We're not allowed to go and lay a finger on that messenger. Haram. But if we're not giving them a word, I'm allowed, because war is based upon deception. Al-harbu khud'a or khid'a. So I could, deception wise, no problem. Okay. So in the battle that I would make him think that I'm a young man and I will paint my beard really black. I'm not allowed to do that in normal circumstances, but I'm painting black so you think that he's young, that I'm scare him off, or give the enemy the hint, or that they think that there are too many, so they think really many people, but very few. Khalid ibn Walid, what he did in the Battle of Mu'tah, he made the army think that they've got a new support. They've got some people coming to help them. Because in the following day, he changed the left to the right, and right to the left, and the middle to the, and the back to the front. So when they woke up the army, and they saw, hang on, the new people, new faces here. They thought they had help from others. So the war is based upon this, but not treachery. If you gave your word, you have to fulfill it. Right, now when we are, regarding the kuffar, the mushrikeen, regarding the fight here, we say that either that we have a covenant with them. So if we have a covenant with them, we cannot really fight them. So if we have a covenant, we cannot fight them. This covenant, we cannot fight them. They have to fulfill it. فَأَتِمُّوا إِلَيْهِمْ عَهْدَهُمْ إِلَى مُدَّتِهِمْ. Fulfill the covenant until the time. We don't have a covenant with them. This covenant could be Geneva Convention, any covenant. We don't have a covenant with them, then we fight them. Unless they give us the go-ahead and the freedom to call for the sake of Allah, to build masajid, and to build places of worship. They give us the go-ahead, we don't fight them. Otherwise, we fight them. And then what we're going to do, we're going to talk about it, inshallah, the next part of the hadith. The third one, which is, we have a covenant, but we are fearing that they are betrayers. We're not really sure about them. These people will tell them, okay, we're not going to have any covenant because we're scared. We're not really happy with your, okay? We're not happy with your covenant. Then he says here, وَلَا تُمَثِّلُوا, and do not mutilate. Mutilation is haram. Kuffar mutilate. At the time of Battle of Uhud, they mutilated Hamza. They have split his belly open. Some of the companions had their noses being cut off. We had some companions like Anas ibn Nadr being cut into pieces, mutilated. Nobody knew him except for Al-Rubayy', subhanallah, bint Muawwid. So, mutilation. But is mutilation allowed in order to protect our people if they mutilated ours? Say, for example, they had captives from ours, prisoners of war, and they mutilated them, killed them and mutilated them. Are we allowed to do that with the captives of theirs in our hand? Two opinions. One says yes. Why? Because number one, to scare them off, not to mutilate our dead people, our people, not to do that. Because if they see that in their people, they will stop it. Okay? So that's the first reason. Second reason as well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَمَنْ اعْتَدَى عَلَيْكُمْ فَاعْتَدُوا عَلَيْهِ بِمِثْلِ مَا اعْتَدَى عَلَيْكُمْ. He who had transgressed, showed enmity towards you, then show enmity and transgress just like he had done to you. Second opinion is that, no, you don't do that. And this is more powerful. Because one, okay, wrong and wrong does not add to a right. Mutilation is haram. So let's say, for example, I'm going to give you an example, makes it clear for your mind. Let's say see people, they did not mutilate. They had taken the males and they had fornicated them. So they took our males, or the prisoners of war, and they fornicated them. We say, no, we're going to do the same thing. Let's fornicate in their males as well here. Can we do that? No, we can't. We cannot fornicate. It doesn't mean that we could do whatever we like. It is not allowed. It's not allowed. Now, so, Wallahu ta'ala alam. Now we come to that following point. It says, وَلَا تَقْتُلُوا وَلِيدًا, and do not kill Walid, child. Not allowed to kill children. Here we're fighting for the sake of Islam, ya Ikhwani, protection of Islam. Not for the sake of making people Muslim. No, it's up to him to become a Muslim, but to protect our Islam, protect the person's freedom to choose Islam. That's all. We're not allowed to fight the child unless the children are fighting me and he's trying to hold a gun against me. Even the old people, there is another narration, don't kill the women, the old women, unless the women that are in the army. Don't kill the priests, the old men, unless this priest is the one who is inciting and encouraging the army to fight me. Like in the Battle of Hunayn, Durayd ibn Simma, he was a very old man, but very bad. He's the one who was telling the people to go and fight the Muslims. And he was blind. And he was participating in the battle and he was killed. Because he was participating in the fight. And this is in the Battle of Hunayn. They call it as well the Battle of Bani Thaqif, because Banu Thaqif is the one. So he was old and also blind, but he was fighting. Yes, he was killed along with the ones who were being killed. Then he says, go ahead.
When you meet when you meet your polytheist enemies, invite them to 3 qualities or courses of action. If they respond to any one of these, accept it and refrain from doing them any harm. Invite them to Islam. If they respond to you, accept it from them and invite them to move from their lands to the lands of the Muhajirun. Inform them that if they do so, they shall have all the privileges and obligations of the Muhajirun. If they refuse to move, tell them that they will have the status of Bedouin Muslims and will be subjected to the rule of Allah Most High. But they will not receive any share from the spoils or returns of war, except when they actually fight with the Muslims.
That's it. Second part. This is the second, because it's a long hadith. Right, so now when you fight, you meet your enemies, call them to 3 things. So when you meet your enemies, so if you have found him, okay, now this enemy of yours, whether it is idolater, fire worshipper, Christian, a Jew, your enemies. Okay, then this enemy is a disbeliever. You call him to one of the 3. If he responded to one, then accept from them. And refrain, don't fight them. Okay? So he says here, Ud'uhum ila al-Islam. Call them, the first thing, call them to Islam. So when you call them to Islam, so okay, they responded, yes, accept it. Straight away accept from them. So that means straight away, you don't have to test them. Read the Fatiha to show that you're a Muslim. No, what is Islam? Accept from you. Khalas. Call them to Islam. So when you fight them, before you fight, it's a must upon you, akhi, to call them to the deen. I cannot just fight them for the sake of fighting. I have to make sure that these people had the da'wah. So before I engage my weapons, I need to make sure that these people had the proper da'wah. Come to Islam. If they accept it from khalas, we become a Muslim. Accept from them. In this case, then told them, okay, leave your land to the Dar al-Muhajirin. What is Dar al-Muhajirin here? Dar al-Muhajirin, is it the Dar, for example, the land of the Medina, as some of the scholars said? Or is it the land of any land which is in the hands of the Muslims? And the correct opinion is the second one. That means you come to the land where the Muslims are in control of, not to stay in the land where there's lots of disbelievers there. So call them to land. And tell them at the same time, when you call them, if you do so, then you'll get the same rights as those who are in those lands from the Muslims. فَلَكُمْ مَالِ الْمُهَاجِرِينَ. So if you have, okay, if you come, then you got everything, whatever is there. But if you decided to stay there, then you become like these Bedouins Muslims. We're treating you like the Bedouin Muslims who are not in the city. And that is, Allah's law will become abiding upon them, but you'll have no share in the war booty. So for example, let's say that the army had gone to a land and they've gained a lot of war booty. This war booty will be divided amongst the fighters and amongst as well the land where the main city is. You're going to have no share because you are decided to live in your own land. You did not decide to migrate. You'll be like the Bedouin Arabs who are staying away from the city, away from the main land of the Muslims, in the desert, whatever it is, or even far away from the Muslim lands. You're not going to have, unless, yeah, he said, unless you fight. So if you stay there and you fight, then you'll have a share. Share in what? There's something called ghanima and something called fay. Al-ghanima is the war booty. Al-fay, it is what? The House of Treasury, you know, like the budget comes from the House of Treasury. This is the bank, the central bank of the Muslims. So this budget, okay, it is money out of it comes to the people of poor, it will, like social support. Social support it gives you. Okay, so this one, so if you fight with the Muslims, if we fight, okay, so if you don't fight, you're not going to have nothing. No war booty, no from the House of the Treasury, no social benefits. I call it social benefits, yes. The social benefits, by the way, is this comes from the Treasury House, which goes into the kharaj, goes into the jizya, the tribute, goes into it, makes it really more richer, and it's got more money to give to the Muslims. But if you fought and made jihad, definitely you will be involved in the war booty, As for the fate, the difference among the scholars. Some of them, they said, no, still, they have to move into the city in order to get the fate, which is the social benefit, the housing benefit. Some of them said, no, because the hadith says, if they fight with the Muslims, then the fate and the ghanimah, both is included for them. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Right, now, we go to the second option. So the first option, embrace, tell them about Islam. If they embrace Islam, alhamdulillah. Go to the second now, thing they're going to offer them. Yes.
If they refuse to accept Islam, demand the jizya from them. If they agree to pay, accept it from them and refrain from doing them any harm. If they refuse...
just take it easy. Right. So if they have refused to embrace Islam, okay, give jizya. What is jizya? Tribute, tax, levy tax. Meaning that just because you're living in my protection and Muslims pay zakah, you have to pay tax. This tax is only to be paid by those who are able to work. Listen, Islam, how justice is. We don't take it from the people, the women who can't work, we don't take it from them. Only from the ones who work. You work, you pay a tax. حتى يعطوا الجزية عن يد وهم صاغرون. Until they give the jizya, عن يد وهم صاغرون means while they are not in a pride situation. For example, if he wants to hand over, okay, the jizya, for example, he can't do it online. He has to come by himself. He cannot have his own, he cannot send his own messenger. He has to be himself come to pay the jizya. The tribute, which is the tax, he has to pay it. For the sake of protection, you are like the Muslims now. You have the full rights. You pay your tax only upon those people or workers. طيب. قال, if they accepted to pay the tax and they want to become like stay non-Muslim, accept from them. خلاص. So they said that the jizya, they want to stay kuffar, disbelievers. خلاص. Refrain from them. Now, third option, if they refused. So if they refuse to embrace Islam, jizya. If they refuse the jizya now to pay the jizya, what? War. So read down there. If they refuse to accept to pay the tribute, then seek Allah's help and fight them. Go ahead.
When you lay siege to a fort and the besieged appeal to you for Allah and His Prophet's protection, do not accord them the protection of Allah and His Prophet, but accord them your own protection and the protection of your companions. It is a lesser sin that the security given by you or your companions be violated than that the security granted in the name of Allah and His Prophet be violated.
Right. So if you have besieged a fortress and they wanted to surrender, don't give them the covenant of Allah and His Messenger, because you might change your mind. And if you change your mind, they'll say, look at the Muslims. They give you Allah's Messenger's word, and yet they didn't really abide by itself. Give them your own words. Give them your own words. So give them, that is, your words, or the words or the covenant of your comrades, the people with you. Because you don't know whether you're going to be correct or not with this covenant. Are you going to keep it or not? Again, after that, and then when you besiege as well. Fadl, continue please.
When you besiege a fort and the besieged want you to let them out in accordance with Allah's decree, do not let them come out in accordance with His decree, but do so at your own decree. For you do not know whether or not you will be able to carry out Allah's decree with regard to them. This is recorded by Muslim.
Right. Also again, if they want you to, okay, give us your verdict of Allah. Don't give this is the verdict of Allah. Make your ijtihad. You say that this is what I believe the rule of Allah in this. This is what I believe the rule of Islam in this. Don't say this is the rule of Allah. Even the mufti, when he gives the fatwa, he doesn't say, for example, this is Allah's law, Allah's rule, Allah's fatwa in this. No, this is what you think that Allah's fatwa is. You could be wrong. And this opens the door of ijtihad, making to strive to arrive to the correct opinion. Ijtihad's door is open there. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. So you could say that we will hand you over and we'll give you the verdict of what we understand from the laws of Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Right, what we gain from this hadith is a mighty hadith. Number one, that it is not allowed to make mutilation, not allowed to steal from the war booty, not allowed to be treacherous, not allowed to kill the children. We added, we will kill the women and kill the old men, kill the priests in their churches or the synagogue, unless they're participating in the fight. Also, it is permissible for the commander to send detachments or to send armies. Also, we learn from this as well. We cannot and we're not allowed to fight until we give the da'wah and to tell these people about Islam. You might use, for example, what has been narrated in Sahih Bukhari about the Prophet ﷺ. He had invaded Banu Mustaliq, which is the Battle of Muraysiyah, okay, in the morning. And they didn't, and it was like a surprise, a shock for them. It's actually those people already had the da'wah, had reached them. So they already know about Islam. They already know about Islam. So also we learn from this that it is allowed to take the tribute, the jizya, from other than the Christians and the Jews, because he said from the mushrikeen, idolaters, anything. And there's a difference among the scholars here regarding can we take tribute from other than the Christians and the Jews. The correct opinion, yes, we can, from all types of disbelievers. Also that we learn from this that the fight is not to make people Muslim. No. As Shaykh Islam Taymiyyah said, the fight is to protect Islam, to fight to give the total freedom for a person to choose to be a Muslim or not. Also, from this we learn the main point, which is the greatness and the great magnitude and magnitude of making the covenant with Allah and His Messenger. And also we learn from this that we should not give those people who have been besieged, the enemies, the covenant of Allah or the covenant of His Messenger, and we should not as well give them the decree of Allah. We tell them about what we think about what Allah would command, Wallahu ta'ala alam. And also we learn that the ijtihad's door is still open, Wallahu ta'ala alam. Let's go now to the issues. Now,
issues. Number 1, the difference between Allah and His Prophet's protection and the protection of the Muslims.
Allah and His Messenger's protection on one side and the protection of the Muslims on one side. That's what it means. So, okay, so we say that the difference is between that we are not allowed to, it's prohibited to give the covenant of Allah and His Messenger to the ones who have been under siege, but we're allowed to give the covenant of ours and our friends as well in the army. Now,
Number 2, taking the lesser of two dangers.
Because he said to the Prophet, because maybe if you are going to be, you're going to be going against what you have told them as a word, you might break your word, you might break your covenant. So to break your own covenant is better than to break the covenants of Allah. So here he says this is a principle, is to go to the least of the danger. أقل المفسدتين, the least of the two evils. So you've got two evils and you have to choose one of them. One is greater and one is less. Which one do you choose? The lesser. You don't choose the greater. So you choose the less evil in order to push away the bigger evil. Because you have to do one of the two evils. So you have to either give the covenants of Allah or the covenant of yours. If you're going to betray the covenants of Allah, it's covenant of yours, doesn't matter. So you choose the covenant of yours. Also as well, if you had to drop one of two great benefits, you drop the least one and you keep the big one. So you got one benefit A, mashallah big. Benefit B, small. And you have to stick to one and leave one. So you leave benefit B, the less one, and you hold on to the big benefits, which is benefit A. Fine. Number 3.
Number 3, he's saying, with the name of Allah, fight in the way of Allah.
We said the name of Allah, saying Bismillah, or that is seeking the help of Allah. In the way of Allah, that means your intention is to be sincere to Allah Azza wa Jal, involves intention and action. Number 4.
Number 4, he's saying, fight those who disbelieve in Allah.
Okay, so fight the ones who disbelieve. That means the reason for fighting them is the disbelief. It doesn't mean that we only fight except who disbelieve. No. Because the disbelief is a reason for the fighting. But we could also fight the person who prevents the zakat. The Prophet ﷺ, Allah Azza wa Jalla, he said, وَإِن طَائِفَتَيْنِ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ اقْتَتَلُوا, if two groups of believers fought one another, فَأَصْلِحُوا بَيْنَهُمَا, reconcile. فَإِن بَغَتْ إِحْدَاهُمَا عَلَى الْأُخْرَى فَقَاتِلُوا الَّتِي تَبْغِي حَتَّى تَفِيَ إِلَى أَمْرِ اللَّهِ. Anyway, so it doesn't mean we just only fight the disbelievers, but the fighting for the disbelievers is because of the disbelief. That's the reason. Now, number 5.
Number 5, he's saying, seek Allah's help and fight them.
Okay, so we have to seek Allah's help. And you can't just depend upon your artilleries and your manpower. Number 6.
Number 6, the difference between the rule of Allah and the rule of the scholars.
The rules of Allah is always correct. And the rules of the scholars, it could be correct, could be wrong. And also, that when we have a fort which is being sieged, then we cannot make them to go on the rule of Allah. It's prohibited. As for the rule of Allah, of the people, yes. The rule of the commander, yes. Now, number 7.
Number 7, at a time of need, a companion could pass a judgment, but not know if it agreed to the rule of Allah or not.
This is basically not just for the Sahabi, the companion, so everybody. That is everybody. So we say that ijtihad's door is open. If you are, making ijtihad, if you are correct, 2 rewards. If you're wrong, if you are 1 reward. As long as you are knowledgeable in that matter. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. By this, we have finished chapter 63. And I believe I told my friends here, the co-host, that we're going to be doing a lot of questions. So I was preparing to do chapter 64, but chapter 64 is a mighty chapter as well. So we leave that, inshallah, for 2 weeks' time. If you have any questions, please go ahead. And we'd like just to start the questions first of those who are in
Aylesbury, Sheikh.
Just Aylesbury. And then after that, we'll go to the panel. Fadal Aylesbury, yes, Ali. Hang on a second. Let me just now, hang on a second, give you the go-ahead to unmute yourself. Fadal, unmute yourself and go ahead.
Sheikh, on the question or the point of jizya, is the jizya a communal jizya or an individual jizya for the kafir?
It is it's an individual jizya. So each person capable, he has to pay it.
And if it's an individual jizya, what if they don't have the means to pay?
No. The jizya on the person who is capable of working. We said that. So if you're not working, you're not able, there's no jizya on you. So it's a tax. How do you pay the tax? You pay tax if you're poor?
No, you don't.
So it's a taxation. Now, is that?
Sister in Aylesbury.
Anybody from Aylesbury? Okay, sister from Aylesbury, go ahead.
Sister from Aylesbury asking if a woman can serve in the Muslim army in a position of combat. She has to fight.
No, we don't have women who are fighting at all. We don't have women, they're not supposed to fight. Prophet ﷺ was asked by Aisha because she heard about the mighty reward of jihad. What about the women? Messenger of Allah, he said that there is a jihad for you women, but there is no fighting in it. There is no even pricking of a thorn. La shawkata fi, no pricking of a thorn. And that is Hajj. That's their jihad. So the jihad is, the Hajj is a jihad for the women. Hajj is a jihad. As for coming to them to nurse, no problem. Sulaim, she was in the fight one day. She was not fighting, but she had a dagger with her. Prophet ﷺ out of a joke said, what are you doing with a dagger, Sulaim? The Messenger of Allah, if a kafir comes in, I'm going to tear off his belly. Prophet smiled. So she's not fighting, but if somebody approached her, she protect herself. But she came there as to nurse. So yes, somebody's wounded, to nurse him and all of that, it's allowed, but not to fight and engage in the fight. We don't want women there to start fighting and they start, instead of focusing on the fight, focusing when the woman, she's going to have her clothes up and down and all this and just see her aura. No.
Okay, brothers from Aylesbury, please raise your hands. Make sure you're labelled Aylesbury and I'll pick you. There's another sister from Aylesbury asking if basically the non-Muslims who pay the jizya to us, to the Muslims, can they fight alongside the Muslim army? Are they allowed to fight and help the Muslims, the ones that pay the jizya?
You mean the non-Muslims?
Yeah, she's asking about the non-Muslim, Sheikh,
no,
if they can help.
We cannot fight with the Muslim. لا نستعين بالمشرك. We do not seek help with kuffar. We do not allow to seek help from the kuffar. لا نستعين بالمشرك. Okay, so we're not supposed to seek help from the kuffar and be with us. Even the Imam Ahmad was really worried about not just kuffar, khawarij being in the army, Muslims, but khawarij. They might turn the whole army instead of fighting the enemies, they'll start fighting the Khalifa who had sent them. And it happened. The fitna of al-Ash'af, it happened. The story, you read it there. He just made himself and he started fighting the one who sent him. So there are too many, we don't really send them in the army because they are poison. So we don't. Now.
A sister from Ellsbury is asking, what is the meaning of the hadith? One of you will perform the deeds of the people of paradise until there is not between him and paradise an arm's length, and then what has been recorded will overtake him, and he shall perform the deeds of the people of the hellfire, and vice versa. What does that mean?
It means basically the person is being exposed what is inside him. Number one, that you always ask Allah, Ya muthabbit al-qulub, thabbit qulubana ala dinik. Oh, you are the one who affirms the heart, affirm our heart on your deen. Because the qulub is between two fingers of the fingers of Ar-Rahman. And he would topple them the way, it could be kafir Muslim, so you have to be careful. That's number one. Number two is that the person's reality, because the hadith was narrated in Muslim Imam Ahmad, different from the narration of Sahih al-Bukhari, where the Prophet said the person would do the act of the people of paradise, fima yabdu, as people think, as people see, mashallah, ibadah and everything. And he's about to die. Now Allah will make him to do what his reality is, which is the work of the people of hellfire. So he will do it and he will die upon it and he will end up in hell. So Allah exposes his reality to act upon it. And the same thing here as well, the second one, that this person do the acts of the people of the hellfire, wickedness, evil doing, fima yabdu, as the people see this. But the reality of this person is good inside. Just like the person who killed 99, he ended in paradise. So Allah made him to do an act, the last act, which is, remember that person, he just went to the land where the scholars are, and he ended up in paradise, and he killed 99, he killed 100, actually. So Allah made him to do the last moment before the destiny of before his death, to do the acts of the people of paradise, and he will enter paradise. Now, do we have anything left from Aylesbury, please?
Yes, we have one question from Aylesbury left, and that is a brother asking about Khawla bint al-Azhar. He says... Azwar, okay. He's saying, did she fight though? And if it's not allowed for a woman to fight, he wants to clarify this.
Not fight. And even if she fought, ya akhi, barakallahu feek, we don't take that as a proof, okay? She did not fight. She was not being recruited in the army. Okay, there are some stories as well which is not authentic regarding Khawla ibn Azwar radiyallahu anha wa ardaha in the Battle of Yarmouk. طيب. No question from the panels, please, from the brothers. Okay. I'm sorry, I want just from the panel.
Okay, from the panel, Sheikh. A question is asking, how did the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam place his hand under his cheek when he used to go to sleep? Jazakallah. Can the same... Okay, this is from yesterday, Sheikh. By the way,
I'm supposed to be this one. Al-Adab
al-Mufrad.
On the right.
Jazakallah khair.
Yalla.
Yesterday you explained about the poetry in the hadith class, and they're asking if they can, for nasheeds, and they said those that are not music, of course, can they apply the same rules?
No problem. Poetry can be said with nasheed without music, but if it is to do with the drum, the duff. What's the duff? Tambourine. Tambourine is only in the Eid day or the weddings. Can I ask now, please go to the questions who those people who are frustrated from the sisters who are not linked to the, please ask these questions.
Yes, Sheikh. Are you allowed to pray on a Muslim who doesn't pray Salah?
We have said in that chat when we talked about the funeral, we said, the person who does not pray, either you treat him as a kafir, as some of the scholars in Hijaz, or you treat him as a Muslim because he does not pray out of laziness. If it's out of denial, it's a kafir. You can't pray on him. But out of laziness, we say, yes, if there is a communal, we have to pray upon him. But the ones who are known to be imams, scholars, pious people, senior people should avoid the prayer, so that the other people would ask why these people did not pray upon him. Because he does not pray. It will teach those people who do not pray, hang on a second here. If I die, these guys are not going to pray upon me, and I need their prayers. So it might encourage him to do the prayer. Now,
asking about the ruling on sitting on with your left palm or left hand stretched out behind you.
The one which is not allowed on the left palm like this. If it is like this, no problem. So if you leaned in against it like this, that's not allowed. Now, so it is like this, even if it's two hands. But if you do the fist, no problem.
Is it permissible to borrow gold to wear it temporarily?
No problem. The gold, which is not allowed, is the gold that you pay as loan. Loan. I mean, you purchased it, but you're going to be paying it later on. Borrow, no problem. Now,
is the following statement correct in hadith terminology? If a narrator narrates a hadith more than once and he doesn't make a mistake, then this is used as an evidence to show he's strong in his memory.
say that again. A question like this is more specialized. I don't know who's going to be beneficial to. Go ahead again.
He's asking if the following statement is correct.
Yeah, by
If
the
a
way,
narrator narrates a hadith,
Ahmed, your internet is going weaker. That's why some of it is breaking. Okay.
I'll understand. Sorry, Sheikh.
Go on.
So if a narrator narrates a hadith more than one time and he doesn't make any mistakes, can this be used to say he is strong in his memory?
Well, and in general, I mean, this hadith, this question is not just as simple. I would say yes. Well, if he narrates a lot more than once, then he is strong in his memory. But it doesn't mean all the time this is the case, because it could be as well in a different stage of his life that his memory has changed. Like Ibn Lahi'a, who has burnt his library, and that's why he started to depend upon his memory, and he forgot. He forgetting. So it doesn't mean. So this is, I would say, you could refer to the books which are specialists in the hadith more than a question of answer and question like this, because I could say to you, yes, commonly says that if a narrator of the hadith is being spotted to say the hadith in a number of occasions is the same, that is a sound memory. But I can't take it like this, because as I said, there are other factors plays around here, that if this person, for example, affiliated to the special sects, Shia, so we say yes, but when it's to do with Shia and favorism Ali, even his memory sound, but we don't take his narration. If it's this person, he gets older, so I have to know when he got older, and he started they said he had got sort of confused when he was at the end. Or this person, he got blind and he just changed. Or the person's library has been burned, he's got no book to depend. When that started changing, who has been taken from him before that and after that? I mean, can you just please go to the question, ya Abdullah? I'm asking you, please, ya Sheikh. Look at the question, the beneficial for the people here. You got about 61 people. I don't think how many people had gained any benefit from that. Now.
Okay, Sheikh.
I don't have time.
Sister's asking if it's permissible to talk between during the.
I think his internet's quite bad.
Yeah, I can't hear him.
Bismillah.
Yeah, now I can hear
Sister's,
you. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. Sister's asking if it's allowed to talk during the khutbah if there is a necessity.
During the khutbah, if it's the khutbah, I mean the khatib is talking. I'm not allowed to say anything except to the khatib himself. As for any person, no, I can't. I could gesture. Like, for example, he's making a noise like this. But to say something, not allowed. To the khatib, yes, I could talk to the khatib. No problem. Khatib, by the way, can you just, there's some people outside in the rain, can you just make sure that they come inside or shorten your khutbah or whatever? No problem.
Okay, is it permissible to raise the hands up in qunut, in the dua, before the bowing, before the ruku'?
Is it permissible to raise up the hands?
Before the ruku' in qunut.
In qunut.
Yeah.
Before the ruku'. Well, in the qunut what? Qunut, there's two qunuts here. Qunut
Witr.
Or qunut al-nazil. Qunut al-witr, you always do it before ruku', ya akhwana. Qunut al-witr, always before ruku'. There's no after ruku'. After ruku' is qunut al-nawazil. Qunut al-nawazil after ruku'. Qunut al-witr is always before. Only in Ramadan, after the 15th day of Ramadan, It was narrated that he used to do it before and after. Now,
Do you raise hands between adhanain? One of the classes of Adab al-Mufrad in Masjid Ghuraba, you said this is not from the Sunnah according to Imam al-Albani rahimahullah. Please, can you clarify?
to raise the hands between the what?
The adhanain, the adhan and the iqamah.
You mean after the adhan, to raise up the hands?
Yes, Shaykhi.
الدعاء مطلق or مقيد. Dua which is general, dua which is مقيد. Dua al-muqayyad, we don't raise up our hands unless specifies. Dua al-muqayyad, like for example, specific dua linked to a specific ibadah. Going to the toilet. Bismillah, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min khubuthi wal khabath. I don't say Bismillah, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min khubuthi wal khabath, and I enter. When you intercourse, Bismillah, Allahumma jannibna shaitan wa jannib shaitan ma razaqtana. I don't say, before I approach my mouth, Bismillah, Allahumma jannibna shaitan wa jannib shaitan ma razaqtana. I don't say that. Okay? So this is the dua al-muqayyad. Dua al-mutlaq, yes, unless specifies otherwise. Dua al-mutlaq. Okay? So here is the dua of the between the after the adhan mutlaq or muqayyad. When we say Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, Allahumma rabba ad-da'wat at-tamma, that's dua muqayyad, not mutlaq. I don't raise up. I don't say Allahumma rabba ad-da'wat at-tamma was-salat al-qa'imah. That's the correct opinion of the two opinions. No raising of the hands. What about dua al-istikhara? Dua al-istikhara, it has of the two. It has mutlaq and it's muqayyad. The muqayyad, which is the frame of the dua, Allahumma inni astakhiruka bi'ilmika wa astaqdiruka biqudratika wa as'aluka min fadlika al-'azim fa innaka ta'lam wa la a'lam wa taqdir wa la aqdir wa anta 'allamul ghuyub. That's all of it, that's the frame which is dua muqayyad. But when it comes to the point where Allahumma inni kunta ta'lam bi anna, and then you call the thing that you want to say, that's where that is called mutlaq. It's not muqayyad. So I'm going to call my own supplication. Oh, this woman, she's good for me in my life and all that. So do I raise up my hands? A correct opinion, you raise up your hands. And if you don't, no problem. So you could raise up your hands because of that mutlaq in the middle of the muqayyad. Wallahu a'lam. Now, go to another question, please.
Okay, how can we cite Maghrib and Fajr? Does Sheikh have any pictures that can be forwarded to the Telegram group?
I cannot teach you how to cite the Maghrib and the Fajr unless we go, me and you, like we went with the shuyukh, and they tell us with their own hands, look at that and look at this. Okay, I mean, through the videos, there's lots of videos on Google. There are lots of videos on Google. Okay, I might look at some of the Google, for example, pictures and images, and I'll show you, inshallah. I'll try to do that.
Inshallah.
Remind me, Hassan, I can't remember. Yeah, Ahmed.
Okay, Sheikh. What is the ruling of discount cards which are issued by companies?
Don't know what's discount cards.
Okay, me neither. Can we pray on a mattress?
We can pray on a mattress as long as the mattress is not spring. So the mattress is like, it's not one of those that if you put your hand, you're going to be wobbling. So if you don't have a firmity, you can't pray on it. But if it's, mashallah, solid rock, because some of the mattress is solid rock, it doesn't move. Okay? You could pray upon them. But if the one is wobbling, no, you can't. Now,
The question is asking, if he makes the ablution, can he have a delay between when he made it and putting his socks on? He's still going to be on tahara, but he's asking, can he delay putting his socks on?
so he had wudu in the morning. And he kept his wudu just about before Maghrib. MashaAllah, he kept his wudu. Didn't go to the toilet. And he wanted to put his socks. Yes, put his socks and start wiping away. No problem. Now,
if one gets mani or madhi on clothes, do the whole clothes need to be washed or just the part that got the discharge?
I don't know if you mentioned mani. Mani?
Mani, yeah.
Mani is ejaculation. Is the ejaculation. This is what comes when you intercourse, okay, or when the masturbation. It's called ejaculation. That's the mani, the sperm. That one is in itself pure, but entails for you to have a ghusl, janaba, full ghusl. But in itself is pure. So if you go into your clothes, it's just like mucus. I mean, it looks disgusting, but it's not impure. So if you don't clean it, nothing on you. But the wadi and the madhi, which is the secretion that comes after urination, or it comes just when you think about foreplay, and that's before the ejaculation, that is in itself okay, impure, you have to clean it. You have to clean the private parts, all of it. You have to clean it. And it does not entail a full wash. It entails wudu. No.
For the newborn baby, when you put the dates in their mouth, if you can't find dates, they're asking if you can use different fruit.
It's the best thing is the date. The date is number one, food. Prophet called it food, ta'am. And number two, it is mubarak. Number three, applying what the Prophet had done. If you don't find, which is, if you don't find, yes, anything sweet. To just strengthen his suckling. طيب, let's go. 3 minutes left.
Jazakallah khairan. What is the ruling of taking the morning after pill?
No?
They want to know if it's allowed to take the morning after pill.
I don't know what after pill means.
They when they have intercourse, they take the pill so that they don't have a baby after they've had intercourse.
It's called the morning after pill?
Yeah, they take it, I think, the next day.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, so taking something which is to prevent the pregnancy is allowed in two things. Number one, there's no side effect. And number two, okay, and that is not permanent unless there is a reason. There's a danger upon the woman. So it's not permanent. Like, for example, you have a sewing the whole pipes there inside. It's not allowed. I could add a number three as well. You're not doing it for the sake of that you are scared that Allah will not provide you. You fear in poverty. خشية إملاق نحن نرزقهم وإياكم, Allah says. Can't. So do not kill your children. ولا تقتلوا أولادكم خشية إملاق نحن نرزقهم وإياكم. Surah Al-Isra. So we say that if it's for the case of, for example, leaving a gap between the first baby and the second baby for the sake of the mother to gain her health, especially the 2 years of breastfeeding, no problem. But to say that I want to have just only 2 girls, 1 boy, that's not allowed.
Shaykhi, this one, I think they could get pregnant, but the next day when they take this pill, it does something to get rid of the egg or something. So is that one allowed?
There's no babies there, no problem.
Okay. Jazakumullah khairan. Scholars say to be a proper student of knowledge, you need to know the Arabic language. And they're asking, is that true? Is the statement true?
Can I just ask this after pill, because I don't want to be as well, because I don't know what it is. Why don't they take the pill which is before? You said what, the after morning pill? Why can't they call it before morning pill?
Yeah, because I think this one, Sheikh, if they think they're going to get pregnant, they take it afterwards, because they think they're going to get pregnant.
I retract from my statement. I don't know what is that after morning pill. I understand there's a pill. I am a person who knows about the pill. My time is the time of Sheikh Al-Albani. Pill is the pill. Ask about the pill, yes, halal, but as long as it don't have side effects, as long as she does not be permanent, as long as she doesn't want to make it like to define how many children out of poverty. All these reasons have been mentioned by my Sheikh. But after morning pill, I don't know, what does it do? So what about after 2 morning pill? What about after 3 mornings pill? I mean, after 3 mornings, not 2-3 days. So I don't know. Allahu A'lam. Now.
Okay, Shaykh, Jazakallah khairan. So to be a proper student of knowledge, you need
21 plus. And I'm really
Jazakallah khairan, Shaykh.
Barakallahu bihamdik. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك. جزاكم الله خيرا. بارك الله